interface with you in recognition, one, of your position as Prime Minister, in office of the Prime Minister. You are the third Deputy Prime Minister. Therefore, there are things that we will wish to learn from office of the Prime Minister, so we recognize your position. Then secondly, we have issues with the iron seats, which to the petition received got mismanaged. The one for Karamoja sub-region. And through our investigative processes, we established that your name is among the beneficiaries. So for fairness, we felt we should give you audience to also listen from you than making our own judgment. So, Right Honorable Prime Minister, that is why today we are here. So those are majorly two things. We shall first listen from you. Then after that, members will discuss your submission.
In brief, I want to say that during the month of October, September, I think around September, October, I got disasters in my district, and these disasters caused a lot of disharmony in my place. People got, their houses were unroofed, institutions were unroofed, and many things were destroyed. So following that one, I had to look for ways of how can I help my people. Like you members of parliament, you've always put me on the floor when you get such problems, that how can we help your people. So in that one, I wrote to the Ministry of Education requesting for some iron sheets, because among the institutions that I wanted to help, we had also schools. I wrote to the First Lady, and she received my letter, and of course she replied. She said the funds are not available as per now, but in case she gets funds, she will do the needful. And I verbally talked to Honorable Dr. Chitutu Goretti. She also told me that put that in writing. I can help you. You know, when you have a problem, you keep on moving here and there. So when I talked to her verbally, she told me that you can put that in writing. And I decided to put in writing requesting for 300 iron sheets. That was far in October. Last year. So this year, my PA gets a call that you come and pick the iron sheets for the third Deputy Prime Minister. My PA gives me a call, and I said, it's fine, you can pick them. So they picked the iron sheets, and we brought them to Mayugi. We gave them to, when they were brought, we gave them to Magada Health Center too. It is one of the places that got those, that were unroofed. I gave to St. John Secondary School, that is in Buaya. Kastaime Sub-Center, that is a Catholic church. Bokasero Health Center too, the staff quarters, we had to roof it. Maumu Health Center too, and Castor Church of Uganda. That is how I distributed my 300 iron sheets. Kastaime, maybe if I can give the numbers. Kastaime, we gave them 35. Magada Health Center, we gave them 42. St. John Secondary, we gave them 98. Bukasero Health Center, 25. Maumu Health Center, 63. Castor Church, 37. Totaling to 100. So, Chair, if you look at that document that I've given you, these have accompanied them with photographs of these institutions. It is showing you the yellow part is where the ancestors were put, which is in that document I've given you. When you get time to look at it, you'll see them. So the yellow part, that is where the ancestors were put. I thank you.
And management, where when disaster issues occur, we normally get our items from there. So why did you write to Karamoja sub-region? We need to have clarity on that. Then this takes me to the issue of policy. Karamoja sub-region has been given affirmative action program, and that is why some of these monies are specifically meant for this sub-region. What is the policy of managing issues in relation to the affirmative action programs? Are we allowed to have the crisscrossing where I come from north? Am I allowed to get things from Bunyoro, sub-region? We need to understand that policy issue clearly, because it is one of the things that we are finding very difficult to tease out on its management. Then issues of donation. Can we have information on how donations are managed in Office of the Prime Minister, so that we get to know the policy issues surrounding it? Honorable colleagues, the floor is open. Honorable Masiko, can you introduce yourself? You are welcome. We registered your apology.
From the Minister of Karamoja Affairs, being one of the, because she's the third Deputy Prime Minister, I believe she knew where she was supposed to go, and she decided to go and request, and this is something that we have been questioning, because if you look at even from the previous presentations, people were making actual requests, but it was Karamoja Affairs that was busy offering these iron sheets. Yeah, and then now that, of course, I believe you're involved in the planning process and everything, may be informed about the special programs that we had for Karamoja, and this being, it was a supplementary meant to address a particular issue. And it now ends up with you. That means you've taken these items, which belong to that sub-region. So what did you do after recently knowing that some items were being mismanaged? And as a supervisor of that place, do you think you're still in position to bring the minister in charge of Karamoja Affairs to record, like to deal with this issue that we're trying to investigate? Are you still in position to supervise her, since you're part of this? Then three, I also want to understand, because the chairperson talked about the nations. Because now, given the fact that we believe in the channels of communication, or the way you handle things in the ministry, in regard to how things are being processed, and the stores, because we had a discussion with you people, with the Prime Minister before, regarding the items that should be specific, like for particular regions, because we have those ministries, affirmative action in different areas. So how come it became so difficult for you to, always specify and say items for Karamoja should be marked, labeled, or not necessarily in general as OPM, but also OPM, but Minister of Karamoja Affairs? Could this be a deliberate move of, being able to switch and maybe alternate items in terms of distribution? Finally, I want to know your take, because the whole country is waiting to see, and it becomes a big challenge when the top leadership is also conflicted. Could it have been a deliberate move? Maybe someone was trying to, you know, did it, do you think this was deliberate for someone to try and soil the whole leadership so that she's able to get out of this, if at all there's any kind of mismanagement? These iron sheets, were they like given to you as to compromise you or something? So we need to understand all that. Thank you.
He used the wrong mabati that were not meant for Mayuge. He used it for roofing government institutions and maybe public or like the churches, public institutions. But would like to know or to avail us or the chair the letter that you used for first requesting the iron sheets. You said you did last year. It's good for us to know whether it was really a request. And secondly, whether you followed the right channel while receiving the iron sheets. Did you sign the right documents? Are they called delivery notes or whatever document that was used from the stores? And did the people that you gave acknowledge the real number of iron sheets that were given to them, either the churches or the health centers? Thank you, Chair.
Submission. I want to take up from the verbal communication with the Minister for Karamoja Affairs, where you are advised to put it in writing, and then from there, immediately your PA was called to pick the iron sheets, which was taken to the constituency and given to the beneficiaries as you listed. Was the written request forwarded? If so, can we have also a copy of Deputy Prime Minister? And having heard from media that you are one of the victims in these iron sheets meant to benefit the vulnerable people of Karamoja, really in your position, what's your take? Because the Karamoja people had the message that the president, in his goodwill, had agreed through a supplementary to give them the iron sheets, first of all, to change their living conditions and housing, then two, bring in elements of alternatives to livelihoods because of the kind of the lifestyle that the Karachunas were engaged in. The main target was a mindset approach to change the focus of the Karachunas from the bad things they are doing to meaningful production. Now in your docket, you are part of the president's aspiration. So, Right Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, what's your take on that? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Prime Minister mentioned that in October and September, that's when she got the floods. That is last year. And you made your request to the office of the First Lady, who is the Minister of Education. And she later replied to you that there are no funds. Did she, at this extent, this year, probably when you contacted the Minister of Agriculture, advise you that the Minister of Karamoja advised you that there are iron sheets in a certain ministry that could be diverted? And my other question, you wrote the letter, pardon? Did the First Lady or the Minister of Education later on this year recommend you to the Minister of Agriculture, to Karamoja? My other question is, several ministers have come out and acknowledged and later on brought back these iron sheets. Are you considering that as well? Madam Chair, my other question is, as the supervisor, it is very clear that she knew that these iron sheets were from Karamoja, and she has not acknowledged writing to the Minister of Karamoja. She only received a phone call giving her iron sheets. Right Honorable Prime Minister, these iron sheets were made for the people of Karamoja who had not settled on their land. And the government came up with a solution to make sure that they change their setting so that they can affirm and settle on their land. So this is stealing from the poor people from Karamoja, I want chairperson, she should consider returning the iron sheets as well as we wait on our recommendations. Thank you.
I also want to thank the third Deputy Prime Minister for being very honest in our submissions, and then at the same time also being very concerned for her people, because according to her statement, she was very desperate to look for a solution to support her people and help them. But however, the case is she was not able to follow the right procedure where to secure the iron seat to support the people in our area. I only also wanted to find out, from our perspective, the fact that, when the stolen good has been found in your place, definitely you have to make a statement, whether in the police or with any other inquiry that will be necessary. And then later on, definitely, depending on the outcome of the meeting, you'll be able to face the consequences. I also wanted to find out whether you are ready to pay back the iron seat that was meant for the Karamoja people, because the iron seat was taken from the dockets of the Karamoja. And the fact that, you're a high-profile person and a woman of integrity. We have never had any cases concerning you getting in touch in many graphs and all that. I think perhaps this could be the first thing that you either being misled, because the minister should have been the one to tell you, please, these dockets, we don't give the iron seat outside. It is meant for Karamoja. He should have been the one to guide you, but you found yourself in such a situation. So maybe you will tell us as a committee what you think about this, and how do you expect the committee to help you in reference to this? Thank you.
Thank you.
Did she receive these iron sheets as the Prime Minister, as the Minister of Portfolio under the Office of the President, or as the Member of Parliament for Mayugwe? Probably those iron sheets would be distributed all over the country, the 300, if she received them in a particular office. Thank you.
Anyway, in my culture, when I lose somebody at home, I cannot just stick to my family to come and help me to bury. But you seek even support from other people. Can you please help me? I have a problem here. So when I got this problem, I could not just stick to one person to help me, but the Office of the Prime Minister has, it is in charge of looking at those who are vulnerable, who are looking for support. That is why we have those affirmative action ministries. They are in support, they are there to support those people whom we really think that they are vulnerable. So I wrote to Karamoja because she told me to write. I did not just write to her that after getting the problem, let me rush to Karamoja. No. When I said I talked to her verbally, she said, you can write. And after that, in fact, it was, we had meetings in our office. I told them about the disaster I have in my district. And of course, OPM, that time, they did not have anything. They did not have anything. That's why I kept on looking for, how can I look for support for my people? And it is the reason why I had also to go to the First Lady. It's because I was looking for a solution. So, because chairperson, you asked why did I write to Karamoja? So that is the reason I wrote to Karamoja. When we were, talking, she said, write to me verbally. And I think some of these questions I'm answering, they will answer some of the questions that are ahead of this, because I'm seeing there are some similarities in the questions that have been brought up. And
Asked on the criteria, did she follow the right criteria? So divert.
I'm answering. Then you can remind me. So that is how I wrote. And before writing to Karamoja, I had written still to Prime Minister's office, because the disasters it was not the first time we had disasters. Still I wrote to them asking for still food. It was food, it was iron sheets. How is this policy? Can we cross items? Now the policy, I'm not very sure of how we can say that items can cross. I think it depends on somebody. If you have something, maybe you can bring it to the meeting, to the ministers, and they see how they can cross it, if they need to cross it. It can be brought to the table, and they see how it can be reallocated, that this one can be reallocated to another.
Now, based on that, don't you think there's a need for us to have a review to manage this crossing based on the challenges now we are going through, so that things for northern Uganda will remain for the people of northern Uganda, Karamoja for Karamoja, because the vulnerable people are there. There's no single sub-region without vulnerable people. What would be your take on that? We now come with it.
Yeah, we can come up with that clear recommendation, but still it can be a disservice, or it can be a positive somewhere, somehow. Because I can give you an example of the landslides in Ibududa. Those ones came in, nobody knew that these landslides were going to come. Can we leave those people to die when you have in stock something that you have kept for Bunyoro, Buganda, Luwero, when those people are dying? I don't know. I can also give it to you people as colleagues, members of parliament. In case you saw what was happening in Ibududa, but when you have something somewhere kept, but it is reinforced, you cannot touch it. If they are dying, let them die. You have no money, there is nowhere you can put, you can get, and these ones, there is a law. I don't know, I can also leave it to you people, but...
can we leave that to our money for disaster management, the contingent funding? If we try to do that by ensuring that we follow the law, that for each financial year, we ensure that 5% of the previous budget is put for contingent funding in relation to disaster management, so that we adequately have some to manage our disaster. Because we are looking at now how...
I think it can help, because we will be aware and we affirm that even if we don't touch what belongs to Bunyoro, there is something there is somewhere we can touch for Bunyoro. Yeah, I think it can be done.
On this matter? Yes. Yes, Honorable Arthur, David, and Jerry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ideally, the contingency fund is meant to
You know, it's like you are saying you have food. I'm giving an example. You have food on your plate, maybe in your home, but you have neighbors who are starving and they are dying. But you cannot give them that food because it is your food. So if we don't have a policy, you know, somebody with I call it a weak heart. Weak hearts like us, like me. Me, I have a weak heart. If I look at my neighbor's child when she's starving, when I always feel like I can share. I can share this food. so that I don't let this person die when I have a lot on my what?
It's a better heart.
Yeah, so I will call it a weak heart, but when you have a strong heart, you still can have your food. If he is dying, let him die. Because this food is not meant for this other person, but that is just to me as an individual. And that I thank members if they come up with a policy that can reinforce and we don't take what is for A, take it for B, and what is for B, not take it for A. But I'll also add that members are talking of planning. Planning is there, but the government, you know, that we don't always have that much money, that we can always plan what is enough. We plan, but in most cases we find that planning is not enough for that disaster that you don't know. How big will it be? We have examples like a country like Turkey recently got into problems, but Turkey is a country that has also been giving us some support. But when they got this problem of the earthquake, other countries started giving them support. I don't think it was a country that was worth giving before they got the earthquake. But when the earthquake came in, I'm just giving examples. So sometimes we plan as government, but when we plan for the unforeseen, it might not be enough for what can happen. Anyway, that one you said, it is about the policy.
You know, now she's before us, not only as a beneficiary, but a prime minister. And we guided her on two budgets. So there are moments she's presenting herself as a leader and that lady, a prime minister.
About these donations, because you said in general,
In general,
it will be the prime minister.
yes.
Then some items are being mismanaged. That this was a supplementary, but we decided to mismanage it. Chair, when I wrote this letter, I never knew that there would be a supplementary. I didn't know. Me, as a woman member of parliament, I had a disaster in my district. So when I got the problem, I did not know that maybe Honorable Dr. Chitutu will soon have something in store that we can mismanage. I didn't know about that. That's why I had even run to the First Lady. Eh? In fact, if I had also, like that the chairperson had something or could support me, I would have run to her.
That is the question I was going to ask when you say the Ministry Primes, because it seemed like the whole, everyone knew that in that hierarchy, they knew that there was something there in the stores. There are some iron sheets, so that's why everyone was.
Yeah, that's what I never knew. I didn't know about that. Me, I was just, because now there is no reason of going to the First Lady when I knew that there was something here that I can touch and, you know, we finish the problem. I had to go to the First Lady. She's the other side. Then I had to, when I talked to Honorable Chitutu, she said, you put it in writing. So I gave you an example. When you have a problem, you
so
cannot.
You're sharing the problem with her, that's when now she reacts.
Yes, when
So
I
it
shared
came
a
out of that,
problem.
when you shared
Yes,
the
when I
problem.
had a problem, I shared. Yes.
By the way, so far you are the only person whom we have known was requested to make it in written.
Mm.
That's when
The rest,
we give it.
we are just called and we are given.
No, mine.
Madam Chair,
Can we now narrow and we go for another meeting?
Madam Chair, just on that. Madam Chair, most
So some of the questions, in fact, I'm answering what So do you think it was, so this one also answers, what I've said answers this one. It was not deliberate. Do you think it was, it wasn't deliberate that we wanted to share? Me, I had a problem and I had to look for ways of solving that problem. So that's how I came to write. I did not even know. And in fact, this one, Honorable said that immediately I wrote, they called my PA. No. This was, my disaster was in September. Yeah, it was in September last year. Then I wrote, in fact, I wrote in October. But the calling was in this year. It was this year. So it was not immediately that it was done there and then. That Karamoja had a supplementary, me, I was not following up the supplementary of Karamoja, that let me target the supplementary for Karamoja. Like I said, I did not know. I was given because I had a disaster, so I didn't know where this person was getting the answers from, either from maybe the leftovers of somebody, maybe she had something in stock that had been, you know, I didn't know. There's nothing I know much about that. Then has the lady, the first lady recommended me. First lady has never recommended me up to now. She's not aware that my problem has been solved. She still has it on her desk. She'll get them. She'll get it. Now that the moment you put it in writing, you know that you are not going behind the curtains. You put everything. Yeah, it is official. It is a public, for public information, the moment you put in writing. So the moment I put in writing, I know it is for public consumption. Do you wish bring them back? Chairperson, this will depend on your decisions as a committee. It's good that I've told you where the iron sheets are. They are in that document. The places are known. And it is up to the committee. If they want them back, then the committee can say our resolutions, we want those schools to be unroofed. Then I think those people can unroof them, if they want. It will depend.
Prime Minister to make happen.
Make what?
Make good of what happened. Meaning that you have to stand in, buy the number of iron seats given to you and take
That will cost about 21 million.
Now, Chairperson, this is, if you tell me to buy, when I know where the iron sheets are and I've given you the evidence, I told you some of us, we have weak hearts. You know, I think this lady, by the time she told me that you're right, I was talking of ladies who had given birth under a tree. I said, you know that I have somebody who gave birth under a tree because the health center had done what?
The ones when they have the tree in the cat in Karamoja, they don't even have it.
Yeah, that one I know. Yes, I know. So that's what I'm giving you that. How she was maybe moved. I don't know why Mubende is. Maybe she comes from Mubende. I think he has been in Mubende many times. I think he has been in Mubende for. So when I talked about the ladies giving birth and a tree, that's how she said you can put that in writing, and in case I get, in fact, she said in case I get, I can support you. So if we say we want to unroof the health center, it will be upon the committee. I cannot decide.
You have responded. The committee says that you want to buy.
Are you willing to buy? Because these iron sheets, if you receive the piano,
It's also the consciousness of the right.
it is our own intention. Yeah.
Chairperson,
Your consciousness say?
no, Chairperson, I cannot say that I will buy because I did not take to roof my house.
Okay.
I took iron sheets to government institutions. Now buying means that it is me, Nakadama, to roof a school. Eh? It is, now that is personal. But this is a government institution. I don't know if in the government policy, we can say that let individuals do this type of work for government.
The church is not a government institution.
Yeah, that is a public institution.
Can we narrow down?
It is a public institution. So